the criteria Latifi needs to do to get re-signed, not get last. Oh, Spa's back, and lights out, and away we go. And Lewis Hamilton is halfway to space.
Personally, go IndyCar over Williams.
Yeah,
basically.
Grosjean Zhu?
Guan Yu
Zhou.
Guan
Zhu Zhou? No,
Zhou
Zhou
Guan
Guan
Yu.
Yu. I suppose I said that the first time. George was already sitting in that seat.
Look, I don't agree with it, but you've asked a question. I'm trying to find a way to justify
And I'm just
it.
trying to absolutely tear your answer apart.
G'day and welcome to Formula Bums. My name is Jacko. With me this afternoon is Andy. How are you, man?
Bored.
Bored. See, we have a different opinion on Spain, don't we?
It was boring.
I thought it was fantastic.
I thought it was boring.
Where do you want to start? Let's start with give us a positive and a negative.
There was no positive. The only negative was it was boring. Nothing happened.
Well,
Fuck off. Nothing happened, and you know
heaps
nothing
happened.
No, nothing
Heaps happened. I've got
Max
a list.
won it by 50 seconds or whatever. It's a fucking boring race.
He won it at the end of the first lap, I think.
He won it at the end of the first corner.
He was over. Behind him, though, things happen. Look, nothing relevant to the championship. I want to make that clear. There's no big shake-ups to the championship.
No.
On a micro level, though, good racing. For one reason, which we will write about in the preview.
The front straight?
Yeah, the overtaking.
Yeah.
Every lap, someone was getting passed. Yeah, they got past the next lap by the same person over and over again.
Yeah.
But it was an entertaining watch. Nothing important, though.
No, nothing.
If this race didn't happen, Max is still a 3-time world champion. That's how it goes.
They need to penalise Max at the start of every race now. Just give him a 30-second penalty to begin with.
That won't... I don't think that's even going to stop him. We've made him start at the back of the grid before and nothing.
It'll at least delay the inevitable. And then we're one red flag away from him not winning.
Speaking of flags, we got one flag this whole race.
Yeah, Max was fucking naughty for track limits.
Yeah, just literally being lazy, being like, yeah, nah, not too concerned about those right now.
He could have taken the penalty too. He could have quite easily taken the 5-second penalty for track limits and been like, I don't care. I've still got 20 in the bag.
Because there was another, what do they call it when you win everything? Is that the Grand Slam? There's a term
Yeah,
for it.
Grand Slam.
Shalom?
Something like that. It was FP1, FP2, FP3, Q1, Q2, Q3. Fastest lap. Led every lap. Oh, fucking hell.
So that, I guess that's, if you're only a partial spectator of the sport, all you needed to know is that Max Verstappen was there, and from the second that car hit the track, they were coming first.
Yeah, no one was touching
We're
him.
talking like practice sessions 2 or 3 seconds quicker than the nearest car. That's including Checo, the Ferraris, the Haas, which seems to be pretty cracked out over 1 lap pace.
The Astons as well.
Yeah, it was, weirdly enough, it's Aston's worst weekend for 2 reasons. 1, Fernando wasn't on the podium, and 2, Stroll was closer to the podium than Fernando was.
Yeah.
I got no big takeaways in practice. The new track layout's fantastic.
Oh, yeah, they should keep that.
That's the big story from the practice sessions. Oh, and it rained a little bit at one point.
No, that was just the sweat in George Russell's visor.
That was in the race. But I do have a note to talk about that because they brought it up with Brundle being like, hey, man, has that ever happened to you? And he said that he had these new carbon brakes on one of the cars he was driving, and it pulled a tear out of his eye under braking and smashed it into the visor. I don't know if that's real or not. It just sounds like he's making it up.
Did you hear what George's excuse was?
No, I'm sure it'd be something very fucking
I
weird.
didn't have my balaclava on correctly, so a bit of hair was sticking out, and the sweat dropped from my head to that hair, and then under braking hit the visor. I was like, sure, mate. It's just tears because you can't get past Lewis.
Georgia did have a weirdly good race this weekend, though. Like, Mercedes, I'm not saying they're back. I'm just saying that sidepods have a proven ability to make your car better in every situation.
Except for one.
Monaco.
No, Ferrari.
Oh,
Because they
fuck me.
changed their side pods this weekend, and where were they?
Nowhere. We saw Charles get out in Q1, not from crashing this time,
No.
just from being slow.
Unbelievable, I believe the quote was.
Yeah, but in his interesting little accent, unbelievable.
Incident.
Then you had Lando, who looked like he was going to have a very good weekend, and that was quickly destroyed. You had Fernando driving a busted-up car through half of qualifying.
No, all the qualifying. He busted it in Q1.
Was that when he hit the gravel as well?
Yeah.
Yep.
Q1, he hit the gravel, and it was his first run too, so it was just never there.
Well, let's talk about qualifying then, because I've got some notes from qualifying.
Okay.
Q1, there was a red flag.
Yeah, because everyone skidded off.
Because, Alex Albon went into the gravel and then put gravel on the track, which caused, I think, in very quick succession, Zhou Guan Yu to go off.
Wasn't Bottas?
Bottas definitely did. Albon went off.
Well, he's the one who did it.
And Tsunoda.
Alonso went off as well, but at a different corner.
That different one. He went off on his own. But this one corner, that was because there was gravel on the track, everyone was spinning out, and it was one of the ones where you come out screaming from the corner.
Mm.
So they red flag there. Everyone got back out on track, but we saw Charles get eliminated. We also saw...
I don't remember.
Sargent, Albon,
Shocking.
Magnussen, and Bottas.
None of those are shocking.
Well...
No, none of those are shocking. Those are except for Charles, they're the usual suspects. The only one missing is Magnussen.
Yeah, I'm not getting up here for that. I wanted to talk about Logan Sargent.
Oh man, this is his only year in the sport.
You reckon? Me too. I've got to that point.
He's terrible.
He's not good.
I know the Williams isn't good, but Albon's doing qualifying in this race doesn't show it, but Albon's doing a lot more than Sargent can.
And Albon's got a point this year, I think.
I think he does.
I know he's doing a lot, but in every metric he's performing better.
Yeah, but he was doing that with the King last year too. Yeah, he's got 1 point.
Yep. So yeah, no, every time, because we're getting to it now, we haven't spoken about Logan a huge amount on our show, but I'm like, is there any point like this is going to be some new dude next year?
There is 1 point. America.
It's fucking whatever, bro.
America needs a driver, and he's the only one they've got.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could always get Montoya back. What's he up to?
I don't fucking know.
He's probably free. Q2. Any big talking points from Q2?
Yeah, fucking Stroll is the reason Perez didn't get in.
Go on.
So if Stroll performed like Stroll always performs, and how he performed in FP1 to FP3, shithouse, then Perez would have went through to Q3. But instead, he decides, this is the time I'm going to put in an absolute fucking blinder and do a lap that no one ever expected me to ever pull out of my ass and knock Perez out.
It's such a comfortable track for F1 dudes. Like, it's where, if you've been in the sport for 4 or 5 years, you've done all your testing, a race there once a year. GP2 used to go there. F2's always gone there. Everybody knows Spain really well. So out of all the tracks for Lance to pull one out on, this one makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
I still don't like it. But if there is a track where he's going to do slightly better than he normally does, it's probably the one with the most laps on it. I do want to talk about Perez, though, because we saw, a crash out in Monaco last year, qualifying. We saw a crash out in Monaco this year. We've seen a couple of errors in qualifying. Always does fine in the race.
Yeah, but you could put Dickhead in that car and he'd do fine in that race.
Right. So what I kind of want to talk about is how many it's one more bad qualifying before we see Danny Rick in the car? Because Red Bull hasn't fired anybody in 2 years. They're
not going to fire Perez. They're not going to fire Perez. Even Helmet is like,
So you're saying Checo's safe? Because I have a dream.
Checo's safe to an extent, and also Helmet's saying that Danny's too slow in the simulator compared to Perez and Max. Now, we know he's going to be slow compared to Max. Everyone is. Fucking
The rest of the sport is slower than Max.
Usain Bolt could be running next to the car and he's slower than Max.
Yes.
Hypothetically speaking. Hypothetically speaking, the fastest man, if he was running at Max's speed, he'd still be slower than Max.
Oh, right. Cool. I thought
I know
just
where
running at their natural speeds. I'm like, well, obviously, man, one's got 1,000 horsepower, one has 2 legs. But I get where you're coming from.
I was going for a stupid joke, and it was stupid. I admit it was stupid.
But yeah, Q2, we saw...
Fucking a rocket ship is slower compared to Max.
There we go. See, now we're on. We saw Perez get eliminated. We saw Russell get eliminated, which was unfortunate because he ended up going on to do well in the race. I wish he stayed where he qualified. Zhou, De Vries, and Tsunoda.
Yes.
Again, usual-ish.
Yeah, it's still you. The only one missing is fucking Stroll.
The one weekend of the year where he does okay.
And he's still going to get shit on for it.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Then we had end of Q2. I think it was George and Lewis nearly crashed into each other.
Yeah. So Osama bin Russell came out and nearly took out Lewis. And even Lewis was like, that was dangerous. And George didn't apologise.
It was just strange, right?
Why would you do that? That's your
teammate. Exactly. That's where the weirdness of it is too. Like going down the main straight, one of you is on a hot lap or getting ready for a push lap. One of you is on a cool down lap. Opposite strategies.
Yo.
And one just swerves right into the path of the other one. Both brakes go on. Someone hits the dirt.
Yeah, George did.
No damage. But very, very close to that's it. Mercedes qualifying over because you crashed into each other.
It was also the weekend that they decided to extend George Russell too and give him that 2025 deal. Could you imagine if he'd crashed both of them out, made them not be able to start the race?
And knowing he's just signed a massive deal.
Yeah.
It would be a very George Russell thing to do.
It really would be.
That's not the end of the Mercedes running into each other, though. I do want to move on to Q1 because we got to see some interesting people in Q1. Oscar Piastri was in Q1. Always good to see.
Are you talking about Q3, dickhead?
Yeah, that's the one I meant.
Q1, everyone's involved in.
Well, you know, I believe this. He was involved in 3 of them. And that's rare for Oscar. It's rare for the McLaren. Now, because Mercedes bought their side pods.
Did you hear what Max said actually about that?
So, it's going to be brilliant, whatever he said, because it's Max.
Obviously, so Max got pole, then it was Carlos, and then Lando, right? They were the top 3. So they're the ones that get interviewed at the end, yeah?
Yes.
So Max looked over, seen Norris, looked genuinely shocked, and then they asked him, I was like, why were you shocked? He's like, well, I didn't expect to see Lando. Actually, sorry. I didn't expect to see a McLaren up here.
Yeah, I mean, no one did. No one did. I know they bought upgrades to Monaco. They said they were going to bring something to Spain.
I don't know what it was, but
it wasn't a massive upgrade package, but it's worked.
For the most part, yeah. They're still not quick.
They're not.
They got 1 lap pace. They've got Haas pace.
Yeah, Haas also did quite well with qualifying this weekend and had a pretty shit race.
Hulkenberg got up into 8th.
Hulkenberg was 8th. Alonso was 9th, but that's because he had damage.
Yeah.
Which was disappointing because watching him win in Spain would have been awesome.
Yeah, I would have had a Spain-gasm.
Yep, 100%. Ocon in 7th. He's still very annoying.
Yes.
But he's doing what he did last year, which is what he'll continue to do every year, which is just do well enough that they don't think about replacing him.
Yeah. That podium last week's going to just hold him out. At least for another year.
Another year on the contract right there.
Fucking joke.
And then with qualifying 7th and then bringing home a double points finish for the team, he just sits right where you want him to be.
You know what he is? You know what he is? He's a fart who lingered too long.
Yeah, he just hangs around.
And he stinks really bad.
Yeah. But it's a fart that has enough going on with it that you're mildly entertained.
Well, farts are funny, so, I'm always entertained when there's a fart around.
Stroll 6, which we've already spoken about.
Fucking useless.
Hamilton 5th.
He looked quicker, though.
Yeah.
He looked way quicker.
And he was.
Yeah.
He was. I don't know what happened on that last lap. There was a lot of track evolution though.
I think he got sideways out of the last corner.
And that's enough to do it, especially with how we're talking like under a second here.
Yeah.
Top 5. Gasly 4th.
But he got a penalty for impeding both Max and Alonso.
Yeah, he got the double. And
Dumbass.
did they end up starting him from the pit lane? Because it was
I don't remember.
It was definitely Charles because he was very not happy with the Ferrari. So they worked on it all night under Parc Ferme. That's got to be a nervous call to make, right? Because you spent 3 sessions, so 3 hours, driving your car, working on the setup, only to go, well, I'm not going to be able to drive this again until tomorrow, the race. Let's make a bunch of changes. I know you've got historical data and you've got all this assumed knowledge to help make a good setup of a car.
But they had to.
Yeah,
in a way, if you listen to Charles at the end of qualifying, he was just so unhappy with that car. He wasn't. If they didn't make the changes, good or bad, he wasn't finishing in the points anyway. So why not take the gamble? If it works, fucking aces, you get points. If it doesn't, well, you weren't getting points to begin with anyway.
I get it.
Coming that where he was qualified and last, like, you might as well take the gamble. Start in the pit lane. Also, starting in the pit lane, you avoid any potential melee at the first corner.
Very valid point. It's just, that's got to be a nervous decision as a team principal to make, though.
I
right?
don't think it is. I really don't think it is.
Just
I think
roll the dice.
if you're in a Ferrari and you know your car is better than 70% of the cars on that track, it's not a roll of the dice starting in the pit lane.
Oh no, the setup change. The pit lane.
The setup change. No, it doesn't. If Charles is unhappy with that car, you know what he's unhappy with. Make the changes. It either works or it doesn't. It's a 50-50. And like I said, either Charles gets points or he continues to not get points. And he nearly got points.
Very nearly. Very nearly. Then Gasly. Sorry, we already spoke about Gasly. Fantastic. But then penalties for impediment. Norris in 3rd.
Shocking.
Yeah, strange. Very strange. And like
Carlos was happy though.
He would
saw
be
his
too.
buddy.
Yeah, it hasn't seen him in a year and a half.
I know, right?
And Piastri in 10th, like that, it was the start of a good weekend for McLaren. Like,
Yeah, start.
We'll get to it. Signs of Verstappen, 2nd and 1st. And like Verstappen, 1:12.27. Nearest one was 5/10 away.
Yeah, no.
Like,
There was no stopping him this weekend.
no, not at all.
There's going to be no stopping him next week in Canada in a few weeks.
Nope. Yeah, he's going to win that one as well.
Yeah.
Which left us with an interesting starting grid. So from the front, Max stayed where he was, Sainz stayed where he was, Norris stayed where he was.
For one corner.
For most of one corner. He lost like 4 places at the apex. Then with all the penalties and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
Hamilton, Stroll, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Alonso, Piastri, Gasly 10th. Oof, that's rough.
That is rough.
That is very rough. Perez, Russell, Zhou, De Vries, Tsunoda, Bottas, Magnussen, Albon, Leclerc, and Sargent.
I'm pretty sure Sargent started from the pit lane as well.
That's the other one who it would have been.
It was either Sargent or Albon, but it was another... Actually, I think it was Albon because Albon was in front of Charles in the pit lane. Because it was
Okay.
a Williams in front of the red car. I remember that. Not much I remember from the race, but I do remember that.
Oh, well, I don't remember that. So I agree by default.
It's because they put it on too fucking late.
Yeah. And why did they have to be in early afternoon?
Why does... Well, if it was any later...
Yeah, it'd be dark. Do it earlier.
Yeah, do it at like 10 a.m.
Yeah.
It's going to be like 9
Wake
a.m.
up.
here.
Wake
Wake up,
up.
race.
Get in the car, go. Like, what are they thinking about in the morning? I'm not letting my driver have any time off.
Just let him
Just
go.
go. Just get
Just
in.
fucking go.
Just, you know what? Just let them race whenever they want. And then whoever gets the best time overall.
This isn't rally.
I've been watching a little bit of rally, actually. Very exciting this year. Cyril's... Love seeing Cyril.
Actually,
Let's-
speaking of other categories, Le Mans coming up, and they've announced who's waiving the starting grid.
Okay, who we got on the flag box?
The flag box is going to be the GOAT, the King.
Latifi.
No, LeBron James.
Oh, an actual one.
No, like an actual
Okay.
fantastic person rather than Latifi. Would have been funny if it was Latifi, but he's probably there.
It's the only thing they trust him to do. Just hold the flag, bro.
I wonder if he's actually racing at Le Mans. I want to find out.
He's definitely doing something.
Tell you what he's not doing.
Not driving F1 anymore.
Exactly. Or crashing F1 cars, let's be real. Let's have a look. Hypercars. Scott Dixon's in it. Jacques Villeneuve and Esteban Gutierrez. I'm going to go through. I'm going to name you every ex-F1 driver from this list.
That's an old couple
Sebastian Bourdais racing. Who else have we got? Fucking Brendan Hartley and Sebastian Buemi are racing for Toyota, as is Kamui Kabayashi. I butchered that something fierce.
Kobayashi.
Kobayashi, yeah, you're right.
That's a good mix. Some
I'm
oldies in there.
There's some fucking Felipe Nassar. Gio, he's racing for Ferrari. Gio's racing for Ferrari.
Well, that was the deal, right?
The devil himself.
Paul di Resta's racing.
Yeah, for Peugeot. And he's with Jean-Eric Verne.
They're just letting anyone drive them on this year.
They really are.
Just letting anyone.
We're going to see Latifi's name in here, I guarantee you.
Just bring your wheelbarrow. You can
Jack
get on the track.
Aiken.
That's good to see. I like Jack Aiken.
Esteban Gutierrez is racing.
Nice.
Juan Mel Carrera. I'm yet to see another name I recognize that would be even related to Formula One or anything. Pietro Fittipaldi. I had to scroll a lot for that one. Jan Magnussen's racing. That's Kevin's dad.
K-Mag's dad, yeah.
K-Mag's dad's racing.
Is Max's dad racing?
I don't know. I've got Ollie Cadwell.
Caldwell, yep.
That one. I haven't seen Yoss yet. Kubica's racing. Giga Kubica. James Allen. He's an Australian that's racing in it. Simon Pagenaud. As a Kvyat for Prema.
It's like the greatest hits of people who take each other out in F1.
This could be a good race.
Well, and there was the Daytona 500 the other day too, wasn't
No,
there?
that's in February, numbnuts.
What was the big one that just happened in IndyCar that I watched?
That was the Indianapolis 500.
That's the one. That was sick.
That's always sick.
They have... Are you aware of one of the races' names? Stingray Rob.
What a legend.
That's both his first and last name.
Stingray Rob.
No, it's just Stingray Rob. That's his whole name. And man, if he doesn't crash, someone crashes into him. Every highlights I watch, and it's always a green car. The green car gets absolutely destroyed by someone else.
Jenson Button and Jimmy Johnson are racing in this for Hendricks.
Nice.
That was all of it. I didn't see Latifi's name. He can't even get into enduro racing. That's how shit he is.
Why bother, man? You couldn't even do a GP.
I know, right?
Do some in drag racing or something.
What could Latifi be racing in that could be funny? I could see him in Indy Lights, not IndyCar. Indy Lights.
I could see him in that Red Bull soapbox downhill racing series that they do all across the world.
Seb did that. Don't insult that race.
Did Seb do that?
Yeah, he did it dressed as Mario.
I didn't know that was Seb. I've watched every single one of those. It's one of my favorite things ever.
Yeah, he did it dressed as fucking Mario.
Did he win?
Probably, I don't remember. I just remember seeing him riding around like this. Like, while he's in the middle of the race, he's just waving at everyone.
I mean,
in classic Seb fashion.
Okay, so not enduro, not Red Bull downhill soapbox racing, which honestly held in the same regard across the world, I would say.
Definitely. You know what he's racing?
It's better than most electric motorsport, I'll tell you that.
Man, I could see him racing that and still fucking it up.
Yeah. Let's actually talk about the race that occurred.
Oh, no, I was just padding for a little bit.
We'll be right. We'll be right. So, lights go out. Max Verstappen
takes off.
Takes the first corner.
25 seconds ahead, race over.
That's it. Yep. Okay. Lando Norris
hits Lewis Hamilton up the bum.
Oh, look. I like British on British violence in motorsport.
You didn't enjoy this, did you?
I thought it was fucking fantastic. What are you talking about? I've made my opinions on Lando Norris very clear.
But what are your opinions on Lewis Hamilton?
I mean, who hasn't he taken out at this point?
Latifi, because he was never near
Yeah,
him.
no, but he's taken out Max like 11 times.
He's tried to kill Max twice.
Yeah, like, what do you expect? You've got Lando Norris, who's a squid. Right?
I thought Russell was a squid.
Russell's... and yeah, just Lewis chickened out a little bit. Brake checked Norris.
No, that's not what happened, numbnuts.
It's what I remember.
So Sainz got a little wide out of turn one, had to slam on the brakes. Lewis, being smart, reacted and got out of the way.
No,
Fucking Norris didn't.
Lewis should have hit him.
Yes, he should have, but also no.
And then
Ferrari have enough pain. They don't need to hit up the ass as well.
At least it would have given them an excuse that isn't their own incompetence for once. I think they could use one of those every now and then. Lando had his front wing broken, and that was race over Lando pretty much.
Yeah.
Straight to the pits.
Lewis was lucky not to pop his rear tyre.
Again, remember how all those conversations we have about luck? Sometimes you're just lucky. Because, again, Lewis, it should have broken something. Fine.
Yeah.
Fine. While this is all happening, Max is now at like 44 seconds.
Yes. Max is in the distance. He's about to lap everyone.
He's gone. Then for the rest of the race, it was a question.
You missed it. You missed the other turn one incident where Woody took 4 positions while he was off the track. And everyone was like, no, it's fine.
He was on the escape road. Like, he was doing what he was supposed to do. How he got to the escape road might be a wee bit controversial.
Everything's controversial with him.
It's a very controversial sport. It doesn't really matter what happens. Someone's pissed.
Usually it's Max.
It's either Max or you.
Or his dad.
Josh's dad idles at 105, bro. he's
Daddy Yoss, though, isn't it? Isn't Yoss the daddy?
Yeah, whatever.
Daddy Stroll's just like death staring the whole time.
He's... imagine having that much money to just...
buy a Formula One team so your son can piss away money every weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, it is exactly... imagine having that much money. Where you can essentially waste it.
What do you think of all the criticism over the past week towards Stroll? I personally think it's the fucking funniest thing on the internet.
I haven't seen anything.
There is a lot more people all of a sudden being like, are you going to have that conversation with Stroll? Do you have the conversation and say, pick up your act or you're getting sacked?
I mean, we've spoken about that a number of times, and the answer is, yeah, I guess so. Because the point I normally come back to when we talk about this is, yes, Lance is receiving benefits from this. But I think, this is what I think I said. It'll be very interesting to go back and listen. Lawrence also has his own goals with buying an F1 team.
I know.
I think the goal of him becoming a world champion with an F1 team outweighs the goal of his son having a good time. I think end of this year, the conversation will definitely begin to occur because you've got Fernando out there who, and there's been a lot of content on this recently, he's got pretty much all of Aston Martin's points this year.
93
out of like 126 or something?
Yeah. That was going into this weekend, though.
Yeah.
It's a little different now. Only by 2 points, though.
Yeah.
He scored 2 more points than fucking Alonso.
So, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you've got Fernando who I don't think you'll ever quite find an equal for in motorsport. But you can definitely get someone like a Sergio who's going to get you second place, third, fourth, and fifth every week.
Would Sergio go back to him, though?
Oh, yeah.
After being shafted for fucking Seb? The only way Perez goes back is if he doesn't have to talk to Stroll.
Yeah, right? Like, there'd be a way. Stroll's like, I don't think it's likely, but I'm saying a driver akin to Perez. Someone you can rely on.
Someone who is German, maybe?
Yes.
Maybe he has driven for this team as recently as last year.
Bring Seb back.
Let's do it. Let's just Seb and
Get him-
Fernando.
Get him back in. Can you imagine? That's the dream team right there.
That's the best team there.
With Gunter as team principal.
No more Mike Crack.
No.
Or Gunter got in trouble over the weekend.
What Gunter's done nothing wrong ever.
He
Unless
was
you're
talk-
about to say something really fucked up.
He was very critical of the stewards and he copped a penalty for it. I think he got fined.
What did he say?
Well, he said something like they were shit. I don't know, probably. Something like that. I didn't read what he said. All I know is he got in trouble. He got called to the stewards for making comments about the stewards on TV.
You got that good old fashioned heard you were talking shit, bro letter in the mailbox.
Yeah, he literally did.
I mean, that's
Let's go back
fine.
to the race. We keep sidetracking ourselves. So Stroll shit.
Oh, terrible, man. Do you reckon his dad fire him?
I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If he ever had that conversation, I'd love to be a fly on the wall watching it.
And I've always said he'll just email him. He's not talking to him face to face. That'd just be an email, bro.
And it'd be the last communication they ever
Yeah,
had.
Yeah, by the way, delete this. Delete my number. No, I'll send someone around to your house to delete my number.
He has the money to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Fernando's my new son now.
Yeah, pretty much. Then, for the rest of the race, I guess the big talking points were it was a competition for second onwards of who was racing who.
I felt like that was the conversation with everyone, though. Every time someone pitted, it seemed like, well, who are they meant to be racing and when will it get into line? Because if you think about it, I think it was the Alpines or Fernando. One of them came into the pits, and then the next lap, Charles, who started on the hards, had to come in and pit.
Yeah, Ferrari was in their absolute fucking Sunday best this weekend. With, okay, buggering up your car setup for Charles, getting the go on for Carlos. Yep, that's about what we expect.
Yeah.
Completely redesigning Charles' setup the night before the Grand Prix. Again, falls into normal. Classic Ferrari, just doing weird shit. But then starting on the hards, which seemed fine. I know there was a couple of drivers who were like, yeah, they're not the best, but they'll do the job. Pitting him on what, like lap 16 or 17?
Yeah, it was lap 17 that he came into the pits on the hards.
When you should safely expect about 30.
Yeah.
30, and then you do a stint on softs, or, do a stint on mediums and then softs.
Yeah.
The point that Martin did bring up during the race was, it's like, look, because he skipped most of qualifying, man's got a lot of soft tyres just laying around the shed this weekend.
I get that, but also...
But enough to discount the 20 seconds of going for the pit stop.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he made all these places up, then he had to stop again. I think he had to stop like 2 more times.
Yeah.
It was stupid. I don't know why they did it.
And then...
Classic Ferrari.
Oh, look, classic Ferrari. Mercedes were all over the race this weekend. You had Lewis doing Lewis things. Just, I guess, staying right where he needed to be.
Yeah, and Russell getting rained on.
Oh,
I can't get over that fucking message. Is anyone else reporting rain? No, it's just you.
that's my favorite bit of it, where he's coming on the radio, like he's clearly had that thought down the back straight, being like, oh, maybe I am wrong, and he's asking the engineers, just being like, no, you dipshit, fucking dry as out here.
The only thing that would have made it better is if he came over the radio, like, hey, can I come past Lewis? Can you just make me go past Lewis?
He didn't ask, which is a first.
It is a first.
When he did do the it's raining radio message, it cut to Christian, who's leaning out, sticking his hand out in the pit lane, going like, no, it's not raining.
It's dry, bro.
Yeah, it was a good race. Gave me the shits. He raced well, man. The side pods on the Mercedes fucking
pissed me off.
Yeah.
Let's go back to no side pods. It was funnier that way.
Yeah, no.
They even made a comment. It's like, it's good when the car's quick. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Go back to being slow.
Yeah, no, stop it. Still Max's year. Perez, again, in that Red Bull.
Damage limitations. That's what that race was.
And he did well.
Yeah, he got it to 4th.
Happy with that. Sainz, I don't even really know what kind of went on there.
Yeah, I do. It's called Ferrari strategy.
It was just
It was,
he got passed in. I think it was in the pits by Lewis to get second place.
yeah, but they were never going to stay ahead of those Mercedes.
Yeah, they just
And then they had the opportunity to undercut Perez. They're like, well, how do I stay ahead of Perez? They're like, well, you pit, and they did. And then Perez pitted and just flew right fucking by them again. It's like you should have done it a bit later when it was too late for Perez.
yeah, no, they just. I don't even know what they. It seems like they make decisions with no clear outcome.
It's
Well,
just the Benny Hill theme song in the background.
It really is. Where it's like, oh, let's pit now. It's like, hold on, leave it 3 laps.
Or leave it another 20 laps for Charles.
Yeah, something. And they're like, no,
No,
Now
it's
it's
fine.
good.
Let's pit.
now it's good. Moving through the list, we saw Stroll in 6th. Whatever.
Who gives a fuck?
Alonso in 7th.
Did you hear his message at the end of the race?
Alonso's?
Yeah, he was coming up on Australia. He had to radio. and it's
yes.
like, tell Lance not to worry. I'm not going to pass him. I just want to be near a car.
Yeah. Just bored.
I'm bored. I need to be near a car in case it rains.
Yeah.
It was literally that. And he just chilled.
But still, on the whole, a very acceptable weekend for Aston.
Yeah, well, anything's better than last year.
Yeah. So even though it was a disappointing race because Stroll beat Alonso and Alonso wasn't on the podium, for a bad weekend, that's your best bad weekend you're going to have right there.
Yeah, I know. It'll be fixed in the next round. So apparently they're bringing massive upgrades to Canada, and Fernando's quote is like, we're bringing it, like we're going to bring it to them in regards to Red Bull.
Good.
I hope they smash it. This better be the best upgrade ever, and it's so quick. Lance puts it in the gravel. Meanwhile, Fernando wins the race.
Well, it's Lance's home race, so you know he's going to fuck it up real bad.
Oh, I hope he does something fierce.
On those upgrades, imagine if they roll out an Aston Martin with no side pods for Canada.
No, better yet, they literally have just stolen the RB19 and repainted it.
Oh, I mean, that's how they got this car. That's how they've got the current one. Zhou was in 9th, Ocon in 8th.
Yes, but prior to that, Tsunoda was in 9th.
Tsunoda, yeah, a few things to talk about with this group because we saw some interesting things happen. This is
where all the passing happened.
This is where all the passing happened because you had Zhou, Hulkenberg, and Perez, and
Valtteri was there for a little bit.
Tsunoda as well.
Valtteri was there for a little bit, but as he said, like on the first or second lap, he actually got some major floor damage, which just put him out.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
Because he popped up saying like, oh, fantastic, I'll try and slow him down, and instantly was passed by both of them.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
Guess I'm done.
Nice try. He's like, oh, my back sore from lifting that for about 45 seconds.
Yep.
Awesome racing between these group of boys, though. All race.
Except for one moment. When Tsunoda put it up the inside for show off and then caused himself a 5-second penalty.
Barely forced him off.
I know, but rules are rules.
They did make the right choice.
Rules.
They did make the right choice. Whatever, though. Like,
hey, got Gasly in the points.
Again, Alpine. They're both just, start of the year, atrocious. Little bit of balance at the moment. I'm not saying that they're going to go on to do a massive shake-up in the championship, but I think they're going to secure a maybe 3rd, maybe 4th.
No, that's not going to happen. They're going to get 5th.
You're at 5th? I'm saying they could probably snake 4th.
No, I don't think they can.
Or Ferrari?
No.
Yeah.
No.
You're a
At
madman.
some point,
You're a madman.
at some point, something is going to click with Charles.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's winning the championship. He can still do it.
Can he mathematically still do it?
Yeah, everyone can at the moment. Max isn't that far ahead, realistically. I know it's almost impossible, but I said Charles is winning, so my word, Charles is winning.
Charles is not winning this championship.
You
Charles
fucking just wait.
ain't winning a race this year, bro.
Charles ain't that far behind. He's only like 130 points off. All it's going to
That's
take...
5 races. 4
all
races.
it's going to take is a sniper bullet to Max's tyre for 5 races.
I like how you had it for 5 races. Just need to stop him winning
Just
the
need
rest of the year.
Exactly. His car's got to blow up at some point.
Piastri 13th.
Yeah, that's where it's
Yeah.
expected to be.
Yeah, especially in that McLaren.
De Vries 14th,
De
isn't
Vries
it?
is that's better for De Vries.
Yeah.
I think, and as you said the other week, Helmet said he's doing better.
Yeah, he's starting to get better. He's still not showing the pace they probably would like out of him. But, I mean, he's in a fucking AlphaTauri.
Yeah. And he's doing better in it than he was 3 weeks ago.
And he still has the same amount of points as Tsunoda.
2 or 1?
Oh, sorry, that's in the race. I wasn't looking at the constructors anymore. I take that back. He scored the same amount of points in this race as old mate.
Oh, yeah.
And no, Yuki's got 2 points and De Vries has none. Him and Sargent are the only
2
that haven't scored yet.
Well, the rest of the list was Norris. Once that wing got smashed up, he was
It was race over.
race over.
Jack Joy cheered for joy.
I was stoked. Well, people were messaging me. Mac was like, "Oh, it was a real painful race, man." I was like, "I just didn't happen to Max first lap." I was like, "Oh, that's probably what he's talking about." As I'm fucking being like, I don't even care if Mac wins. I've seen that. Magnussen, Bottas, and Sargent. Sargent slow.
Very slow. Is he as slow as fucking Latifi?
That's a good question, actually. This is a very good question.
All he's doing is not smashing the car up as much. Let's be real.
That I was going to say that's only the really big difference is he's had that one in Australia where he absolutely blew the car up, but so did about 14 people at that part of the race in Australia.
Exactly. Like, it's fine. And he didn't really damage it as bad as, the 2 Alpines damaged themselves.
Oh, yeah, and that was the big part of that was you saw, which is why we're saying Alpine's doing better now.
Because they're not crashing
because
into each
they're
other.
not crashing into each other.
But they got Ocon on the team, so it will happen eventually again.
Without a doubt. It was nice to see Stroll not hit Fernando somehow this weekend.
That's because he was ahead of him.
Again, it wouldn't have shocked me if that wing mirror came off and took out Fernando. So it's always a nice sign when you don't see them crash into each other. Bottas.
Damage.
Yeah.
There wasn't much he could do.
And I love him. Just seeing him happy.
You don't look happy anymore.
Yeah,
I think it's going to start getting to him now. These are just poor results after poor results.
Yeah, but you know what the thing is? It's not often in your career where you can completely blame the tools you've been given, but this is one of the times where he went, look, I did my best, but the car's just shit.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody apart from Alfa Romeo would take offense at that statement and be like, yeah, man, we know. Just don't leave yet. We still like you.
I shouldn't take offense to it. It's just a shit car.
Maybe instead of wind tunnel time for like doing well in the championship, you get to request a certain amount of CAD drawings from the winning car that year. So be like, okay, well, you've come 10th. You're allowed to, almost like a draft. You can pick 3 CAD drawings of your choice. And you come 9th, you get to pick 2 CAD drawings. Because then at least...
What happens if you finish 7th?
Huh? You get...
Fuck all.
Nothing.
Yeah, fair enough.
You don't have to give anyone CAD drawings.
Also, fucking... Ferrari is 60 points ahead of Alpine at the moment.
That's not staying there for ages.
Well, if Alpine keeps scoring, 3 or 4 points per race.
Yeah, by the start of next year, they'll be a lot closer.
Yeah, by the start of next year.
I reckon by fucking Bahrain next year, they'll be on equal points. There you go. That's a fucking prediction for you.
I can't wait until Bahrain ain't starting next year. It's Saudi.
Yeah. Bahrain's the 6th race. And I can't wait till we get in there and they're both on 66 points and be like, I fucking told you. I told y'all. And that was it. Cool down room was nice.
I didn't watch anything. As soon as the race was over, it was straight off.
You had Max, George, and Lewis.
Yeah, I couldn't give a shit. I don't want to hear Woody be, I should have come second. Lewis, why wouldn't you let me pass?
Well, the good thing
I would have given you a cup of tea and a biscuit.
They just ignored George pretty much.
That's even funnier.
It was just Lewis and Max.
I would have done that.
Max was like, welcome back. And Lewis was like, it's nice to be back. How have you been? He's like, yeah, pretty good. Don't know if you've heard, but I'm currently fucking destroying everybody. And then George was like, did anyone else see rain? Or was that just me? And they're like, it's just you fuckhead.
Max is like, I thought I told you if I seen you again, I was going to smack you.
Yeah. Welcome to my house, bitch. And that was the race,
Nothing happened.
except for the last 45 minutes.
Not even that. It was like 25 minutes.
Nah, we didn't fuck it up that much. And we'll be back next week for a preview of Canada.
Fair enough.
Do you like Canada?
Yeah, it's a good I love Canada. It's a great
It's
track.
a great track. That wall is brilliant for crashing into.
Especially if you've won the championship, Max.
Do you reckon?
I'd love it. Just so we can get something new. Because I'm sick of hearing the Dutch National Anthem.
They could at least do what Austria did when they were doing the 2 Grand Prix right behind each other, was you had the National Anthem one week and then you had some crazy heavy metal band do the National Anthem the next week that only one driver liked, which is Daniel Ricciardo.
Of course, but he's not there anymore, so...
Yeah, do you reckon we're going to see him?
I don't think we'll see him this year.
I don't think we'll see him
Oh, we'll
this
see
year.
him in the car. I imagine they'll give him a free practice one, and he's doing the tyre test at Silverstone, that sort of shit.
I'm okay with that.
It'll give him time in the car, get his confidence back.
Yeah.
Get his confidence back in time to take over for Perez in 2025.
Yeah, we've been saying it for a long time.
I don't think it'll happen anymore, but you never know. Perez would have to royally fuck up, I reckon.
He's putting in some good efforts, though.
He is putting in some
He's
good
putting
effort.
some good efforts in to get in trouble, bro. That's why I brought it up earlier, where I was like, we're seeing a couple of mistakes in qualifying, man. They haven't fired anybody in a year and a half. They've got to be getting close. Someone's getting fired.
What do you mean they fire? Oh, no, they didn't fire Gasly. He just left.
Yeah. Checo's been there for 2 years now.
Yeah, it's about time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's one more red flag from Checo. They're like, get out.
Stop hurting our golden child.
Yeah, they've had to put a new fucking sign over their board that they have in Red Bull. I don't know if you probably didn't see this, but they've got it's been 0 days since we fired someone, but that wasn't removable. They just had that printed. That it was just stuck there at 0. Now they've had to actually put fucking paper on it to be like 4 days.
Who'd they fire 4 days ago?
The dude who bought the sign.
Fair enough.
The dude who bought the fucking sign. All right, that's it. Follow us on social media. @Bumps Formula on Twitter.
Formula Bombs everywhere else.
Everywhere else. Listen,
Website.
you posted a meme that I was like, fuck, that's he's funny. I should put that on the page. It was on the page.
Yeah, I posted it.
Posted it.
There's the Stroll one.
Yep.
They did him the dirty. It was great.
And listen to our other show, Bums on the Bench.
We're about to record it in half an hour.
We are. All right, thank you guys.
Bye.